Welcome to Know the Awaken Your Soul's Unlimited Potential. My name is Eva, and today I'm going to be sharing something that I've been reflecting on, which is the importance of finding your own truth. And why am I sharing this today? It's because someone quite recently commented on one of my videos and they asked me a very interesting question, which was, how do I know if you are telling me the truth? Me, you being me, right? And the reason why this person asked this question in this video is because in that video, I had shared that it's very important for you to be very discerning about the information that you come across, right? From the different books, the different videos, different speakers that you encounter on a day-to-day basis, that you really need to sit down and reflect on whether the information that's being shared with you is truthful or not. Okay? And the only way that can happen again is through reflection. So this person was asking me a very valid question, which was, how do I know if you're telling me the truth? And initially, my initial response was going to be, you don't know if I'm telling the truth. And that's the correct answer. Like, no one really knows if anyone else is telling the truth because you're not in that person's mind to actually really understand why they shared a particular information. So we can't really know if it's true or not. But that's based on one perspective, right? You can't know if it's true if at all you're relying on your ego, your egoic perspective to tell you whether information is truthful or not. Because, like I said in previous videos, your ego's main role is to keep you safe, to make sure that you survive any kind of dangers that might actually end up with you dying or something. So, any information that it encounters, because it's different, because it's weird, it's different from what you've known to be true, what you've been exposed to all along. Your ego's initial reaction will be to reject it because to your ego, it will reflect danger. That's different. That might actually kill you. Whether it's truthful or not, your ego doesn't know. Again, the only role your ego has is to keep you safe. Okay? So what happens if you're relying on your ego to tell you whether some information is truthful or not? Again, if any information it encounters that's different from what you know to be true, brings danger to the ego, it means that you might actually be rejecting information that's actually for your highest good because your ego is scared. But now, how I actually answered this person was I told this person, follow your heart. What does your heart say? And why did I say this? It's because when I'm talking about the heart, I'm talking about your soul. Okay. Your soul has an ego kind of perspective towards your life. So it will always be able to tell whether if you're heading down a certain path, whether that's actually going to end up being the highest good of yourself and maybe for the people around you. So it's never going to want you to stray away from a path or even lead you towards a path that's going to end up with really bad results for you in the future. So your soul will always guide you towards a path that's for your highest good. So if you're relying on your soul to tell you the truth, it's always going to lead you towards the direction that's good for you. And this is how I answer this person. Okay, but I really did reflect on this and I've kind of found a different way to explain this to you on why it's so important to find your own truth based on who you are and based on your perspective, right? So I'm going to share with you a video. Let me share my screen to help put things into perspective. Share my screen. Okay, that's perfect. Okay. So don't pay too much attention to what's happening in the background because this is just to help you understand what is really, really going on here. Okay. So let me pose this for. So you're in a concert, a room full of people standing at the front, right? Who are the speakers, right? And then there are people seated in the front, people in the middle, and people seated all the way back to the back of the room. Okay, so let's assume this person at the front, the speaker at the front, decides to hold out a pen, this pen, and ask everyone in the room, what color is this pen? So who knows the answer to this particular question? It's number one, the speaker, because they're the ones who are holding the pen, right? So they know the real color. And the other people who might actually know the truth is there are people seated at the front because they have a line of sight towards the pen, so they can be able to tell this pen is actually dark blue. Okay. The people in the middle might also be able to determine the real color depending again on the lighting in that room and again on how good their eyesight is. So some of them might be able to tell the real color and some of them not. Now the people at the back will not have access to this because they don't have a direct line of sight towards this pen. And again, depending on the lighting, they might see totally different colors. Okay, but the one thing maybe they'll be able to determine is that this is a dark colored pen or this is a light colored pen. Okay, so now this is how I was reflecting on this. So let's assume that the people seated at the front. Okay, so let me go back a bit. Now, the people at the back, the only way for them to determine the real color of this pen is number one, they can go all the way to the front and see for themselves that this pen is actually dark blue, or they could choose an easier option, which is to rely on the people at the front passing along their information all the way to the back so that they are able to now know that this is a dark blue pen. So here's the problem with this particular scenario. Let's assume the people seated at the front decide that, we are going, I'm going to stop sharing the screen right now. So let's say the people seated at the front decide that they are, number one, maybe some of them are colorblind, right? And remember, the people at the back are relying on them to pass along the information. So maybe they're colorblind. So they're not able to tell the actual color of this pen. So they might see a dark colored pen and they'll say it's black. And they'll pass along the information all the way to the back that it's black. That's actually going to be incorrect. But is it really wrong? Because it's not really wrong, because that's what they're only able to see based on their eyesight. That's the only information that's available to them. So they won't be spreading the information all the way to the back with malicious intent. Okay, so that's one thing that can happen in this scenario. The second thing that could happen in this scenario is the people seated at the front will decide that, hey, because maybe there's an incentive towards knowing the answer to the real color of this pen, let's do this. Let's hold on to this information. Let's spread misinformation all the way to the back. So now the people at the back won't be able to tell whether we're telling the truth or not because they're relying on us to tell them the truth. They're assuming we're telling them the truth. So we can decide to hold on to this information and spreading misinformation to the rest of the people. So we'll say that the pen is green. And we're going to stick to that, and that's it. And that is what is going to happen. So again, the person at the back, because they're relying on these people at the front to tell them the truth, and they're assuming that they're being told the truth, they'll just accept it that, yes, the pen is green. And they'll just go along with it because they have no way of disagreeing with that information. That's the second thing that could happen. The third thing will be, these people seated at the front will say, you know what, now we're spreading this information and we're never going to tell anyone that this pen is actually dark blue. But what happens to the people who are seated in the middle, who actually kind of had a line of sight towards this pen? They still know that the truth is the pen is dark blue. It's not green as these people in the front are trying to tell us. Okay, so they might start saying that, hey, you guys are lying. No, this pen is actually dark blue. So the people at the front will be like, because these people know the actual truth, let's get rid of them. Okay, because they're not aligning to our ideology, which is to spread the misinformation. So let's get rid of the people who actually know the truth, so that we hold on now to the people who aren't able to see the actual color and who rely on us for this information. So which again, they'll get rid of the people who actually know the truth. And then the people who'll be left are the people who actually believe them that the color of the pen is green. So I'm sharing this because I found this to be so profound when I was reflecting on that. It's basically how information gets passed along, right? In this day and age, that I go read a book or I listen to someone, a speaker, then I sit down, I digest this information, then now I go and spread this information out to the people around me. Okay. But what people forget is what I'm going to be sharing with you will be based on my particular perspective and what I discern from that information I received. Will it be the truth? We don't know. You don't know actually, right? It will be the truth based on my perspective. But what happens to the 10th or the 20th or even the third person who received this information? Because remember, I went and got it from a speaker who got it from another speaker who got it from another, like it's a whole lineage, right? Right. And then I came here and I shared with the next person, and this person went and shared with the next and the next and the next person. What happens is that chances are at some point this information is going to get distorted because everyone will gather whatever information they need to gather from that particular text. You see evidence of this also in the fact that me and you could read the same book right now, but what I will interpret from this book will be totally different from what you interpret. You've seen this time and time again because reading the book is based on my own experiences, my own belief system, my own perspective. So maybe when the person is describing being in a mountain hill or something like some weird, weird imagery in the text, I might actually assume that they weren't talking about a green hill or something. They were talking about being at the beach because that's how I interpreted that information. That's how I visualized it in my head. But someone else will see a green hill, someone else will see a mountain because that's how they're reading the text, that's how they're interpreting. But what happens to the person who's not read the text for themselves? They're going to be relying on me who knows the truth because I was in direct contact with that information to tell them the truth. Okay, so like I was saying again before with the whole pen ideology, is I could share based on my perspective, meaning that I'm not doing it based on any malicious intent to spread misinformation or information to you. I could be sharing the information to you based on my perspective, what I gathered from that particular text. Okay, but if I have weird agenda with this information in which that I don't want you to know the real truth, I could easily lie to you. I could tell you, yeah, I read that and tell you something totally different from what I actually read in that text. And again, since you don't have access to that, you won't be able to know whether I'm telling the truth or not. So how do you actually start determining the truth of information that you're given? The one thing that I preach again with all the work that I do is you really need to connect to your soul. Because like I was saying before, your soul will never lead you astray. If you're relying on your mind to tell you whether something is truthful or not, again, it's always going to lead you astray. It's going to lead you in different directions that you really don't want to go to. Okay? So you always find yourself getting influenced by the people and the environment and whatever it is you're tapping into because it's not really the truth. It's not really the true essence of this thing that you're reading. And most people have become so lazy with actually determining the correct information for themselves. They rely on other people to do all the work for them. And then they'll be like, you know what? I'm just going to learn from you. There's nothing wrong with learning from people. Let me make that clear. Okay, there is a reason why we have teachers. There's a reason why we have guidance. Because again, certain information is not available to us. Like someone has to teach us, you know. You're not born out of the womb knowing how to dribble a basketball or something or ride a bike. Someone had to teach you to do that. And then now, based on you being taught, you found your own way of making things happen in the real world. You found an easier way for yourself to ride the bike that could be different from how you were taught. But the only way for you to arrive at that information is because someone taught you and then you discerned it in your head or did your own analysis or whatever, and then now interpreted it according to your perspective. So there's no problem with learning from people. The problem is just accepting it as absolute truth because I'm too lazy to go figure out my own truth for myself, or I'm too lazy to sit down and reflect and determine whether it's or determine like a different perspective from this information I'm gathering. And this is the whole point of this video, that you really need to start reflecting on your own truth. You need to find your own truth because if at all you're relying on other people to do it, you're going to find yourself tapping into some misinformation that really doesn't serve your highest good. You're going to be finding information that only rings true for that person, but not true for your own life. But because you don't have the energy or you don't have the time to sit down and reflect, you're gonna start following what this person is saying, and it might actually end up being bad for you in the long run. Okay? So again, connect to your soul. The other thing that I gathered from this is that what I've come to discover based on the years I've been doing my own journey, my own self-development journey, is that universal truth is universal truth. Universal wisdom is universal wisdom. It doesn't matter what race, what language, what culture you're coming from. You'll find that if information is truthful, it will resonate for everyone in the world, regardless of their race, their gender, their culture. It doesn't matter, regardless of their country. It will ring truth for them, for everyone, because it's inherently the truth. But when you find in information that's just serving a particular group of people, you're gonna find that it's only gonna ring truthful for this group of people. But when you go to a different kind of setting, people are gonna be looking at you weird. Universal truth, it doesn't matter whether you're in Africa or America or Asia or whatever, regardless of where you go, as long as you're speaking the truth, it's gonna ring truthful because this is information they still have. What happens with most information, again, is people interpreted it based on their own perspective. So when it comes to universal wisdom and universal truth, you'll find that the underlying message in all of this information, it's the same. Okay, if you look at all the spiritual teachings that we have, looking at the meat, the heart of this information, all of it speaks about the same information. Yes, it could be interpreted in a different language, different words could be used to describe this, but at the end of it all, they're all speaking about the same message. And that's how you'll be able to tell whether something is truthful or not. Because when someone says something here, and then you tap into someone in a different continent, different country, different culture, different race, talking about the same thing, and then you come across different people doing this, then there is some truth in that. Okay, this a sort of truth. But again, like I said before, you really need to be discerning with this because your soul will always know the truth. You'll always feel it in your soul, in your gut, if I can say that, whether something is truthful or not. If it's not, you'll find yourself rejecting it, like with your entire being, not just your mind. Okay, like I said, if your ego is scared and doesn't want you to venture out of your comfort zone, it's always going to want to keep you safe and get you to reject things that just don't make sense. So your ego will be rejecting, which is now like your mind will be saying no, 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 no to it. But I don't know, like I would say like your physical being is somehow accepting to the truth. That's what I've come to discover, right? So that's the end of this video. I hope this resonates with you. Let me know down below in the comment box if you resonate with this, if you have any questions about this, or even if you have a different perspective to this. Like I would love to hear from you. I'm a very curious person. So I love learning from different people because I've come to discover that as much as I have my own perspective, my own truth, someone else could say something in a different way that just hits me differently. And that's what I love about learning. It's the same information I'm gathering from all this text, all these books, all these teachers I'm tapping into. But the way that person says it, the way that person interprets it just hits me in a different way that just expands my awareness even more and more. And that's what I'd want you to do for yourself. Okay. So let me know down below your perspective on this. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, I do share how I can actually help you tap into your soul guidance, tap into your soul intuition, because like I said, my work is all about that. I'm all about connecting you to your own truth, connecting you to your inner self so that you determine your own truth for yourself. And how do I do this? Okay. So I do work with two modalities. Number one, I do work with Akashic records. So with Akashic records, my modality is called soul realignment. So soul realignment is all about reminding you who you are at soul level. How did God create your particular soul? Because there is a formula for all of us, right? If you've checked out my Akashic series, I've explained all this. So make sure you check it out. I'll leave the link at the end of the video with the playlist. You can go check out the videos. Okay. But I've shared that, each one of us was created with our own specific gifts. Okay. Gifts we're supposed to tap into and leverage to create our own human experience. The only problem that happens is that because something is just inherently so good for us, we start falling into gift envy because we have this perspective that everything has to come through difficulty, through suffering, through all that, which is actually not true. Things we're gifted at come so naturally for us. I'm not saying that you won't have to like go to school and study some certain level of skill to really be able to amplify this gift, because you still might need to do that. But you'll find that when it comes to your gift, it will be so much easier for you to do that if inherently your soul is gifted at that compared to someone who's not gifted at that. Someone who's not gifted at your soul gift will find it so difficult to learn a particular skill. And it will take longer, take a lot of their time, take a lot of the resources for them to master a gift. Well, for you, it will take a little bit of time and a little bit of resources just to master that gift. The soul realignment actually helps you determine your particular soul gift. And that's the importance of tapping into your soul gifts, right? Because these gifts are what we leverage to create our human experience. How we, the careers we tap into, how we relate with the people around us, like it makes it so much easier for us to interact with the world. The other thing it's going to help you identify is your particular soul group. Your soul group is basically where did you originally incarnate as a soul before now choosing this current human experience you're in? For some soul guests, their first incarnation was on planet Earth, but for other souls, which we call the Satis, they actually incarnated elsewhere before now choosing to continue their experiences now on this planet for some reason, right? So with soul alignment, you'll actually be able to determine your particular soul, where did it come from before now choosing this human experience. The third thing is that you will discover where you currently are vibrationally. What do I mean by that? It's where your intuition, where your guidance is actually coming from. You can actually be able to tap into what dimension your consciousness is at right now, where you actually have self-awareness too. So are you getting information from the fourth dimension, from the fifth dimension, from the sixth dimension? Because the higher you go, it means you have a wider perspective on how day-to-day operations are actually occurring, right? So that's the other thing you get to discover with soul alignment. And the last thing you get to uncover with soul alignment from a soul alignment reading is you get to identify your particular soul story. Okay, by soul story, it's what I love about soul alignment is the fact that you're not gonna be taken round, or I'm not gonna take you round on, what people normally fall for is to like want to know the entire history of their soul. And I'm not against that at all. It's very good to have awareness about your particular soul journey. But what I love about soul alignment is that it identifies the particular lifetime that has a correlation with the kind of experiences that you have in this lifetime, meaning that in this particular lifetime, it's when you started forgetting who you really are. So you started making choices that went against who you are at soul level, choices which created blocks in your blueprint, blocking you from accessing your soul gifts. And all these choices, all these mistakes, let me call them mistakes, or negative karmic influences, you've been carrying them lifetime upon lifetime upon lifetime until even now, you're still repeating the same mistakes again and again. And because so many people are not aware that they're just repeating history over and over again, they keep making the same mistakes over and over again. But with soul alignment, you get to identify, first of all, the particular lifetime you started making these negative choices. You identify what choices, what circumstances led to that, and basically what these blocks are so that you stop making the same mistakes in this current lifetime. And the beauty of this awareness is that once you have this knowledge, going forward, you're not going to be making the same mistakes again, because now you have the power of knowledge. So now you know, if I do this, I'll be going against my soul, and I'm not going to do that. And that's the beauty of soul alignment work. Like, it actually helps you identify, this is who I was created to be. this is what I've been doing that has been blocking me from going back to who I used to be. So how can I stop this? Doing things that go against who I am at soul level. And the other thing is that now with the soul realignment work, now you get to heal on an energetic perspective, which is healing with Akashic records. You get to clear all these negative karmic influences that are still imprinted in your soul blueprint. Because what happens is that as long as these experiences are still part of your soul blueprint, you'll keep on attracting the same people, the same situations over and over and over again, kind of like a broken record, right? It's the same learning lesson, but it's coming from different people all the time, right? And so you get to clear all these negative karmic influences energetically, okay? So energetically, you will not be attracting the same situations again, unless now, on a physical perspective, you just decide to go back to what you used to do before. And if you do that, again, you're in control. You'll just create the negative influences, karmic influences again in your soul blueprint. Okay, so that's the beauty of that. So that's one modality, soul realignment. The second modality that helps you really connect with your soul is quantum. So quantum flow is an embodiment mechanism. What it does is it incorporates the use of sound, breathwork, and movement to help rewire your entire body on a physical level. Because what actually happens is that on a physical level, your nervous system actually gets impacted by all the trauma, all the wounds, all the experiences that you've had in your life. Like all of that memory is actually stored in your nervous system, and it actually creates crystals inside of your nervous system. And these crystals block energy from flowing freely inside of your being, your chakras, everything is blocked with this particular crystal inside of your body. So in this case, it means that any kind of mindset, that any kind of thing that you do to just work on your mindset, you might actually not be able to hold this transformation physically because your physical body is still blocked as long as you have these crystals inside of you. So what quantum flow does is that it helps break down these crystals, okay, and then gets the energy flowing freely back again from your core all the way up to your frontal lobe, which is actually considered to be your center of manifestation. And by doing so, you actually able to awaken to your intuition, right? It opens up your pineal gland. You will be able to rewire your belief system, right? Because your nervous system also operates as your unconscious mind. So again, if you have limiting beliefs, limiting patterns that have been keeping you stuck, all of it is still stored in your nervous system. So with quantum flow, you get to break these systems down and now create your own empowering belief system, your own empowering thoughts, right? You get to actually learn how to shift from low vibration emotions and tap into high vibration emotions. So if you have problems with feeling anger, frustration, jealousy, think of any negative emotion that you might experience on a daily basis. If that's your problem, with quantum flow, you'll actually be able to learn how to transmute this negative emotions and tap into higher vibration, which means higher states of inner bliss, inner peace, inner happiness on command. So that's what quantum flow does for you. But most of all, which is what I love, it 10x's your spirituality, your enlightenment process, which I'm actually a testament to because I've been doing this method for the past um, over 2 years, if I'm not wrong, over 2 years. And when I tell you that my spirituality, my enlightenment process has been accelerated so much because I do this method on a daily basis, that's actually true. But anyways, if you get to experience this, then you get to experience on yourself. You know, you get to heal yourself from all the past trauma. Stop carrying the memory of all these wounds that you've experienced in this lifetime and now start creating more empowering systems for yourself within your own body, within your own mind, which quantum flow can actually help you do. So if you resonate with any of this and you'd like to learn more, you connect with me on Facebook or Instagram. You can send me a DM. I'm always happy to answer. Send me a DM, ask me any question you want. Or if you actually listen to me and you're saying, yes, I'm ready to heal. Yes, I'm ready to awaken to my soul's highest potential. Then what I want you to do is check out the description box because there is 2 links to the quantum flow. You can book a quantum flow session with me or a soul realignment reading with me. and I'll always be happy to assist. Thank you so much for tuning me on this video. I hope again you resonated with everything. I do send you so much love and so much light, and I hope I will see you on the next video. Bye for now. Oh, and before I forget, if you do like the kind of content I do share out here, make sure you subscribe, click on the notification bell so that you may be getting notification for every time I share a post. And see you on the next video. Bye for now.